This morning. So it's time for to talk a business of music in Nigeria. Michael Odion is a music label executive with over 19 years experience in the music industry. Mr. Odion has been at the management level for about 17 years at the Premier Record Limited. He is a chairman of the Music Publisher Association of Nigeria, MPAN, and the board member of the Record Label Proprietors Initiative. Michael is a co-founder and the director of Africa Music Business Roundtable. Now he joins us via Zoom, and also we have a singer-composer, Tolu Rivers. He joins me in the studio to dissect the issue of this business in the music industry in Nigeria. Now Tolu has a new single out, but will come to tell us about this development. You have a new single. Good morning, Tolu Rivers.
Good morning.
And thanks so much for joining us on the program. Mr. Michael, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us. Are you there? All right, we'll connect with him anytime soon. But let me kickstart with you, talking about this business and music. So how do we relate this? Music and business. So what's the correlation?
Okay, I do believe, good morning, it's nice to be on your show. I believe that music is a gift that is supposed to be exploited, and profitability should come after the use of that gift. So as with your use of your skill as a broadcaster, as with the use of the skill of law, as with the use of the skill of medicine, music is a skill. Though it entertains us, music is a skill. Music is a skill set. And at the end of the use of that gift, there should be some form of reward, financial, and there should be some form of profitability attached to it, hence music business. Because oftentimes we forget, because music entertains us and we seem to derive maximum utility when we have been entertained, we do forget that there are workings that oil our ability to be exposed to music. Music has to be recorded, it has to be written, it has to be produced, it has to be promoted. Hence, it has to be performed, actually. So hence the need for an economic reality in the music industry. There's an economic reality of running all those things day by day. And so hence there's a reason why there's a business to it, because there must be profit made from it.
So how comes the economic reality that is bringing in the business form into music? Is it, you just made mention of economic realities. So is that why we are bringing in business into music?
Exactly, because the musician must eat. Because the artist must eat. He must send his children to school. His band members
they have the flesh, they have blood, they have water running all through.
Exactly.
So tell us more.
The artist has to drive a car or has to have a means of transportation. The artist has to pay rent. The artist has to, every normal thing that the lawyer will do, that the doctor will do, that the broadcaster will do, that the cameraman will do, the musician also has to do. He is not exempt from the realities of having to spend money for day-to-day activities because he's a musician. Hence, he needs to be able to recoup money from the use of that talent.
So there's this book I read some years back, 12th Night. There's this character there that says, Ducosino. He said something about, if music be the food of love, play on and give me excess of it. So at what point can we use music to solve people's challenges? Some people go into depression, some people they've had trauma. So how can we use this as a means of solving their challenges in the country? Okay, I'm still going to get to the point where, you know, sometimes, okay, answer that before I do my follow-up question.
Okay, how can we use music to, let me say, speak to people's challenges? Okay. I think it's by having musicians who are authentic and can speak exactly about their...
do we have fake?
Oh, well, what I mean is that for example, I just give an example. There can be musician A whose present burden is survival. And he can completely shut that reality from his music and can just give you music about enjoyment. Okay? So being authentic in this sense will mean that he can talk about survival so that if you are trying to survive just like him, you can hear what he went through. You can get glimpses from, okay, this was what happened to this person, Okay, but he's fine now. For example, if this, and this will sound funny, if there's an artist who's been through domestic violence, for example, and the artist talks about it, when we go through circumstances, there's a way that we relate to those circumstances. Mm-hmm. And the person says, well, this was what I did that helped me come out of that relationship, that abusive relationship. Somebody else who is in one can take a cue. So how do we influence society? Number one, we should really tell authentic stories. If all that we focus on is enjoyment in our music, then we will not touch society.
Is that not the trend that we're seeing at the moment? You answered that. I'm being told that Michael Odion is now joining us via Zoom. Good morning, and thanks so much for joining us on the program. Hello, Michael, are you there? Oh, all right, I think we were yet to get connected with Michael this morning. Can you go on with your line of thought, talking about using music as enjoyment all through? We are not speaking to the soul of people anymore.
Exactly. So there's a sense in which we do cater to our listenership as musicians. That means in our minds, we are thinking, what do people want to hear? That happens to musicians. But there's also the reality of what do people need to hear.
So it's a case of what people want to hear and what they need to hear.
Yes.
So when you are composing those songs, so how do you make both?
Okay, I'll explain. So I'll explain with the analogy of, there was a time when we valued our Nokia 3310.
Absolutely.
Significantly.
Absolutely.
And it meant everything to us. We did not know in our minds that we needed touchscreen phones, but somebody invented it. So what happens as an artist is that you take a leap of faith by giving people what you think they need. It means if we experience a certain kind of decadence in our society and we think that let's address this issue. For example, let me say advanced fee fraud. And we say let's talk about this in music. By the time we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 prominent musicians talk about, guys, let us go away from advanced fee fraud, as insignificant as it may seem, it will have an effect an impact on society. That's the way society runs. When people who have influence talk about things, it does affect the minds of people. So I just think that people should sometimes lay down the issue of commerce, because commerce is important.
I'm so happy that you made mention that commerce is very important. So that it gives you joy when you go into the studio after producing, you're selling and you're making money. You smile to the bank.
Of course.
Michael is joining us via Zoom. Good morning, Michael. Thanks so much for joining us on the program. Tell us the correlation between this issue of music and business in Nigeria. Michael, if you can hear me, tell us the correlation between music and business in Nigeria.
Sorry, you're a bit faint. Can you come again?
Well, it seems we're having connectivity challenge with Michael. The question is
I can hear you now.
The relationship between music and business in the country, Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. I mean, I've listened to my brother speak, and everything he has said falls in place. But you see, the truth of the matter is, at the end of the day, once we are not able to get the business aspects right, then all the issues of trying to make money for the artists, make money for the crew, make money for everybody will not be there. Because this is show business. There's always a show and there's a business side of it. So this business side of it is a very key ingredient for every other thing he has said to fall in place, you know. And where we are in Nigeria, over the years, we have tried to bring together that show and the business for it to work for everybody. But in handling the business aspects, there are certain things you look out for. And these things are structure, policy, and data. I say it again, structure, policy, and data. For any investments to come in and for there to be a well-planned structure, you have to have data. because data helps guide you and helps the investor understand exactly where you are and what you are worth. Then, of course, government policies are very key, because the policies would have to protect the interest of all stakeholders in the music industry. So we need to get the policies right. And then, of course, the structure. When you have data and policy and you don't have a structure, then how can you be able to pay the people? The structure is, for example, you have the CMOs, you have other agencies of government that should help put that structure that can ease things like payments for royalties. For example, the CMOs, pay royalties on things that are generated and all that. So there is no how you can talk about music without business. It is a very key ingredient. And we must understand that Nigeria has moved from just enjoying music to actually the business aspect of it.
But that's why
and
it's
that is how this country can grow.
That's why
because
it's just a moment. Let me
GDP,
jump in before you continue with your line of thought. That's why it's called the showbiz. So at what point can you help in protecting your intellectual property to ensure that someone out there is not taking what belongs to you?
Okay, so at the very start, before you even jot down that music, you need to start thinking of protecting your intellectual property. And how do you do that? And I always tell artists, the first thing you do is not to write the music. The first thing you do is to get a lawyer, a learned lawyer that understands IP. When you get a lawyer, you write your music, you do your music, 50% of your problem is solved. Because whatever deals you are going to be getting into, you have a lawyer that will advise you and guide you so that you do not enter into a pitfall. So from the very beginning, get a lawyer if you want to protect your intellectual property. That is the advice. Otherwise, whatever you are going to be doing, if you are not learned in the industry, if you do not understand IP, you will be falling into a lot of pitfalls, and you might just lose all whatever you have done or you have worked for in years. So it is very important that from the very word go, you get a lawyer, not just any lawyer, an IP lawyer that understands the business. And such a lawyer will guide you from day one, and you know that, yes, you are protected.
Let me put on the pause at the moment. Let me come into the studio where you heard him clearly talking about getting a lawyer. So is there a waiting period? Because you can't just start the music business and immediately you are making money and you're smiling to the bank. For you to get a good lawyer, that will cost you money to do that. So at what point can you start waiting to get the reward in the music industry?
Okay, I think that for different people, for different creatives, the time will differ.
Okay.
It will be a function of where you are coming from and what state you are in development as a musician. For example, it's not that hard to get a lawyer. I would think that word of mouth, I would think that getting a reference, I would think that reading the news and practically just rummaging through all the information that we have online will give you access to an entertainment lawyer.
Okay.
You don't have to start by saying, this is my lawyer. You can start by saying, can I engage you? It means that can I hear you out? Can you hear my priorities and align with it? So getting a lawyer I don't think getting a lawyer is a problem. I think that getting a good lawyer may be slightly challenging. That's just about it. But getting a lawyer is
would you just advocate that you just get any lawyer?
No, I think you should get a good lawyer. Like he said, and a lawyer that understands intellectual property is very, very important. But they are around. That's what I have to say. They are around. It may take a bit of walking, it may take a bit of shifting, but there are lawyers around. So I don't think that getting a lawyer would inhibit anybody's progress in the music industry. There are lawyers. If you don't know a lawyer, for example, look at the professional music bodies that we have in Nigeria, like the one that he's part of, and get references from them. You get a lawyer. It's that easy. It's not as hard as that.
So the waiting period, because for young artists watching you at the moment, they may say, okay, I just want to get into the music industry and I make quick money.
Okay, I think, and this may sound funny, I think that all of us have different paths, and all of us will get to probably the same destination of success, if having money is what success means, at different times. There are artists who will drop a song today, and somehow, in the next 1 week, the song is everywhere. There are artists who, for example, have a label, and so if they drop a song today, the label amplifies it. And in the next 1 month, I think that the success, when music will succeed, is a function of many things. It's a function of luck, of hard work, of management.
Let me put you on the pause. Let's quickly get the perspective of Michael Odion. What is your own definition of having the success in the music industry?
So having the success in the music industry is first and foremost you even understanding the music industry. Like my brother has said, I mean, there are different faces for everybody. There are some artists that just want to blow. There are some that, okay, they want to do this for a lifetime. There are some that are doing it for the hobby. You know, so it depends on your perspective. But for me, you need to understand the business first. If you're a serious artist that wants to take music seriously, you need to understand the business first and foremost. You need to understand the steps it takes. I mean, look, let's not, I always say that music is spiritual, you know, and like my brother has said, there are different stages to this thing. You know, you might just have an artist very new and he releases work and he blows. Some, the labels work so hard, you know, and he blows. Some, they can release 10 songs. It is the 11th one that he will blow, you know. So there are different stages to this thing. But the most important thing is, as an artist, okay, you need to understand the business first.
Let me put you on the pause at the moment. We need to understand the business. Very, very crucial. Just hold on your thoughts at that point. We need to pay some bills. And when we come back from this break, we'll continue with our discussion this morning. Do not go anywhere. It's still TVC Breakfast Saturday.
Every great hero begins their day with a mission. And our heroes, they're on the hunt. Be a superhero. Join the Hunt and Win promo on Indomitable Packs. Visit www.indomie.ng/IHWP for more details. Terms and conditions apply.
Well, we're still talking entertainment this morning, and I have with me in the studio Tolu Rivers. Many thanks for staying on the program. And also joining us via Zoom is Michael Odion. Many thanks for staying on the program this morning. Can you continue with your line of thought about this issue of music and business, and what are your plans after this? What are the plans that you have ahead of June, July for the music industry in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you very much. So one of the plans that we have is to intentionally start doing the things that we need to do as an industry. And that is why we have come up with the African Music Business Roundtable. What do we want to do? We want to get stakeholders, experts into one room, both nationally and internationally, and say, look, this is the problem we have. We have a problem of data. We have the problem of structure. We have the problem of policy. Government, how are we able to work with you? Government agencies, Federal Bureau of Statistics, National Bureau of Statistics, Federal Inland Revenue Service, the Ministry of Art, Culture, and Creative Economy, NCAC, all those bodies. Look, these are the issues. We need to start proper research so that by next year, we will say, yes, we now have a data for the music industry that any investor coming in can look at. We can now say, okay, we are getting the policies right. Even if not 100%, at least we are getting somewhere.
Okay.
We need to get the structures right. So that's what we'll be doing in June. And after that, a lot of other conversations will be happening.
I know you have a lineup
to make sure that we start getting things done.
But let's keep it wrapped at the moment. Let me really come to Tolu Rivers. You just have a new single.
Yes, I actually have a new body of work out, an EP of 3 songs. It's called 3 Love Songs.